Hi, I'm Dana Opelman. Welcome to this week's video blog. Today I wanted to talk a bit about misbehaving in public. I get a lot of emails and see it on the Facebook page quite often that parents have some really good strategies for dealing with misbehaving behaviors at home, but there's always that worry that, ooh, what if we get into the restaurant and she has a complete fit, and then what do I do? And that's a really tricky one, especially in those toddler years where they're just learning, how to handle their emotions and what appropriate behaviors are okay in a restaurant and which ones aren't. But I want to encourage you to go ahead and try going out in public with your children and having some really clear expectations for what kind of behavior you want to see. So this was a tricky area for us too as parents. We enjoy going out for dinner, and there was a period of time where we just didn't do it anymore because it was more hassle than it was worth. But then we decided, you know what, because this is enjoyable for us, there should be no reason why we can't take our children out to eat and expect them to behave in an appropriate manner. We just had to teach them what that was. And so I want you to be really clear with your child. That's the first thing you need to do. Is just saying be good or have good behavior can be too vague. They don't understand, well, what kind of behaviors are okay and which ones are not okay. And so get really specific about 2 or 3 things that you want to see when you're in the restaurant. So for example, I would say to my children, I want you to have inside voices, which means no yelling. I want you to sit on your bottoms, which means no standing up in your seat. And I want you to say please and thank you, have good manners. So I've been very clear about what my expectations are when we go in. And we go over them the minute we park in the parking spot. What are our rules for restaurant behavior? I get them to repeat those rules with me so that we're all clear going in. All right, so that's step 1. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that all's going to go well once you get in there. Children are children, and they may need reminders about the rules. So I want you to be really clear with your consequences too when you get into a restaurant. If you've outlined clearly what your expectations are, and one of your children starts yelling loudly in the restaurant, you've already gone over that, right? You don't need to keep repeating yourself to be quiet. So I would give 1 warning. I would say that is not an inside voice. You need to speak quiet. You need to speak more quietly. If he continues to yell, now we go to consequence, right? There absolutely has to be a consequence. My favorite consequence is leaving the restaurant, going to have a timeout in the car. And that's, sure, I get it, that's a total inconvenience for you. You have to get up out of your chair and drag a child to the car for a timeout. But I'm telling you, if you do that on a consistent basis, all you'll have to do is give the warning and the child will know. It's when we give warnings and give more and are inconsistent with our consequences, that's when things become really challenging because our children don't know what to expect. Therefore, they're going to just keep trying until they finally reach the end. So give your 1 warning, then give a consequence, time out in the car. And if you're with your partner, you can take turns. First time out is your job, next time out is his. Usually it won't take more than 1 or 2 warning and timeouts before a child understands that I have to behave in a certain way when I'm in a restaurant or I will face a consequence. Okay? I would do the same thing if I was in the grocery store, at grandma's house, wherever it is where you feel a little bit out of your element. It is absolutely okay and crucial that you stick with the same sort of consequence and warning systems that you have at home. Even if it means, we're at grandma's house and now we need to go to the car for a timeout, or we need to go to the car for a timeout in the grocery store. These are okay things to do once you set the stage, then you don't have to do them as much. You might find yourself doing them often at first, but again, like I said, once your child understands that you mean what you say, then they'll stop after the first warning. All right, so enjoy your dinner. Thanks for watching and sleep well.